Imagine a parasite that turns your own mind against you, manifesting as an unbearable itch and terrifying nightmares. This is the story of Valerie, a woman being consumed from within by a dark entity, beginning with an itch she simply can't ignore. Stay tuned to uncover the chilling secret. The film opens with Valerie, a renowned motivational speaker, famous worldwide. Her words inspire hope in everyone. But beneath the surface, she's secretly tormented. Every night, terrifying nightmares plague her, visions of being dragged underwater. The cause of these haunting dreams remains a mystery to her. We then learn about Valerie's family. Her mother died years ago, her father's whereabouts are unknown, and she's married to Ruby, who loves her deeply. Today, a letter arrives from her hometown, instantly souring her mood and deepening her gloom. She decides to meet a friend, but even that doesn't lift her spirits. For some time, she's been noticing strange changes in herself, particularly an intense, persistent itching on her scalp. We see her taking medication for the itch, along with birth control pills. But today, even after taking her medicine, the itching doesn't subside. Distressed, she searches her symptoms online. The results terrify her so much, she slams her laptop shut. Adding to her unease, Valerie discovers a massive ant infestation in her home. She has no idea where they came from or where they're going. Following their trail, she finds an entire ant colony built inside her house. Peeking in, the sheer number of ants horrifies her. The next day, Valerie needs her birth certificate for an upcoming international tour. She can't find it among her documents, suspecting her mom might have had it. This leads her to her aunt, hoping to ask about a box her mother left for her. However, the conversation veers towards her mother, whom she misses dearly. Her aunt gives her the address of a locker where the box was kept. But when they arrive at the storage unit, they find the box is gone. Her aunt suggests, "Maybe your dad came and took it?" Valerie returns home, still troubled. The itching on her scalp is so intense, she claws at it frantically. Her husband, Ruby, notices this increasingly strange habit. Valerie, and even her doctors, are baffled by her condition. She wonders if it's a genetic issue, something passed down from her mother. For now, she tries to focus on her international tour and decides to visit her father. Before leaving, she puts on a cap to avoid scratching her head in public. Valerie arrives in her village and meets her father, a former soldier now living as a monk. She asks, "Do you know about the box Mom left for me?" Her dad claims to know nothing about it. In his room, Valerie notices a very strange painting. When she asks about it, her dad begins to tell her the story of an entity called Sanchi. Sanchi, he explains, was a parasite that lived with humans, feeding on their spiritual power. Once Sanchi possesses a person, it stays with them until it completely consumes them. Valerie isn't there for folklore. Before leaving, she secretly snatches her dad's key and goes to his locker without permission. She doesn't find the box, but she does find her birth certificate. As she's about to leave the storage facility, she hears a child crying, sounding like they're drowning. Following the sound, she reaches a storeroom. Ants scurry everywhere. As she tries to look closer, she feels multiple hands grabbing her from behind, as if evil spirits are attacking. She spins around, ready to scream, but it's just the facility guard. It was a hallucination. Back home, Valerie is deeply confused by her experiences. She examines the items she took from her dad's locker, old family photos, pictures of her dad as a soldier, and her beautiful mother. Looking at them, Valerie realizes she never knew how her mother actually died. In these pictures, Valerie notices an allergic rash on her mother's hand, identical to one she saw online when researching her own condition. This confirms her suspicion. Her current illness is connected to her mother. Valerie's affliction has made her irritable, even affecting her relationship with Ruby. She's constantly on edge. Tonight, determined not to scratch, she wears gloves and ties her hands before sleeping. But she jolts awake the next morning to a horrifying sight. The gloves are off, and she scratched her scalp so raw it's bleeding profusely. Terrified, she takes the picture of her mother, showing the rash, to her aunt. Seeing the photo, her aunt becomes sad and tells Valerie, "Your mother was probably under some curse, some hex, that led to her death. I tried to save her, but it was no use." Valerie asks what her dad did about it. Her aunt doesn't elaborate, only warning her to stay away from her father. Later, Valerie has a photo shoot. Under the heavy lights, she sees another shadow standing beside her own. She's terrified but keeps her composure. Back home, the scratching continues. She scratches so hard she draws blood, which Ruby notices. She quickly makes an excuse. As she opens the medicine drawer, Ruby spots her birth control pills, leading to a heated argument. Valerie, overwhelmed and struggling, tells Ruby, "Maybe it's better if you just stay away from me." A rift begins to form in their relationship. Now alone in her room, Valerie is determined to stop scratching. She ties her hands again before sleep. But in the morning, she's distraught to find her hands free and her scalp bleeding once more. She now understands that some other entity must be involved. She couldn't have untied her own hands. It was clear someone, or something, else had freed them. Upon waking, Valerie again notices swarms of ants. Frustrated, she follows them to their nest, wanting to see what they're up to. She even starts to break down a wall in her house. Just then, there's a knock at the door. It's her father. He was worried because she wasn't answering his calls. He wants to tell her something important, starting with her mother. "Valerie," he begins, "your mother was a wonderful person. And today, I'll tell you how she died. Years ago, as a soldier, I killed an enemy combatant, a woman. She possessed some unknown power that, upon her death, transferred to me. And through me, it latched onto your mother. I later found out it was a Sanchi. When I realized, I tried desperately to free your mother from this parasite, but I failed. Then, you were born, and the Sanchi parasite moved into you. I know strange things are happening to you, and Sanchi is behind it all." Valerie's dad, anticipating her reaction, had put sleeping pills in her tea. She dozes off. When she wakes, his words rush back. She starts researching her mother's death and finds newspaper clippings in her own house, stating that her father had actually murdered her mother. The revelation shatters her. Suddenly, a storm breaks out. As Valerie goes to close the windows upstairs, she sees her mother's silhouette outside. The day of her mother's death flashes before her eyes. Her mother, writhing in agony, as her father forcibly drowned her. Seeing this monstrous side of her dad, Valerie rushes to confront him, to avenge her mother. She ransacks his house, demanding, "Why? Why did you kill my mom?" Her dad insists, "I didn't kill your mother. I was trying to save her from Sanchi. But Sanchi was too strong, and I kept failing. Your mother died fighting Sanchi." Valerie doesn't believe him. Her dad continues, "Your mother was actually trying to protect you from Sanchi. In that attempt, she took her own life. But even in death, she failed to protect you. Sanchi is with you now, and to save your life, Sanchi must be destroyed." These words begin to frighten Valerie. She leaves her dad and returns home. The next day is her seminar, the biggest of her career, an international tour. She doesn't want to be embarrassed by scratching in front of everyone, so she wears a cap. The show begins, packed with people, the ratings high. She calls a girl onto the stage and begins her speech. "Until you recognize your true self within," she says, gesturing to the girl in front of a mirror, "you can't achieve anything." As she speaks, she's unconsciously scratching under her cap. Then, in the mirror, behind the girl's reflection, she sees another shadowy figure standing behind her. She's terrified, knowing it's Sanchi. The reality of it, seeing it so clearly, fills her with dread. She collapses, writhing and scratching her head. The audience is stunned by her breakdown. Unwilling to make more of a spectacle, Valerie flees the stage and rushes to her car. Even at home, the scratching is relentless. She scratches so hard she creates a hole in her scalp. When she inserts her finger, it touches her brain, causing brain damage. She loses comprehension and collapses unconscious. Thankfully, Ruby is home. Seeing her critical condition, he rushes her to the hospital. Valerie's life is saved by timely medical intervention. But a huge threat remains. Sanchi is still with her. In the dark hospital environment, Sanchi is shown clearly for the first time, hovering over Valerie, tormenting her. But this time, Valerie isn't scared. She doesn't scream. Sanchi strikes her head, triggering the itch, but Valerie resists scratching. She now knows the truth. She's no longer afraid. She's ready to fight. As Valerie confronts her fear, her condition begins to improve. Sanchi's control over her weakens. Ruby's constant care also plays a part. He always stops her from touching her head. The scratching has caused partial paralysis, especially in her legs, making walking difficult. She's learning to walk anew. One night, to prevent her from scratching, Ruby ties her hands. But when he wakes, her hands are free, and she has scratched her head. He finds scissors nearby and assumes she cut the restraints herself. Angry and feeling his efforts are futile, he believes Valerie doesn't want to get better. Valerie tries to explain that Sanchi did it, but he refuses to listen. Ruby, frustrated, leaves her. Valerie is utterly alone, feeling defeated. She needs support, so she starts watching her own motivational videos, which give her some strength. She decides she will fight this entity, Sanchi, herself, to end this ordeal. That night, she gives Ruby a sedative and goes to a room filled with mirrors. She shouts, "Who are you? What do you want from me? Show yourself." For a while, nothing happens. Then, A horrifying hand emerges from a mirror and grabs Valerie from behind. It's Sanchi, finally revealing itself. In a terrifying voice, Sanchi tells Valerie, "I will not leave you." It seizes her, holding a knife to her throat. Valerie screams in terror. The scream wakes Ruby, who finds himself tied to the bed. He struggles to free himself, calling out to Valerie. Meanwhile, Valerie is preparing to cut off her own hand to prevent herself from ever scratching her head again. She marks her arm and places it under a cutter. But how can anyone inflict such pain on themselves? She hesitates several times. Then, with a surge of courage, she thrusts her hand under the machine and brings the cutter down. Blood spurts onto her face. The pain is immense, the bleeding profuse. She tries to staunch it with makeshift bandages. After stopping the bleeding from one hand, she wipes the blood from her face and resolves to cut off her other hand. As Valerie contemplates this, Sanchi suddenly appears behind her, grabbing her. This time, Valerie doesn't flinch. Sanchi threatens, "I will eat you, drink every drop of your blood." Valerie keeps it talking, then suddenly shoves Sanchi's hand under the same cutter she planned to use on herself. The sounds from the room distress Ruby, who is still trying to escape. Valerie is now in full combat mode. After cutting Sanchi's hand, she picks up the machine itself and attacks Sanchi with it, thinking it will kill the entity. But it doesn't. The parts of Sanchi she cut regenerate, growing back. Seeing this, Valerie is truly terrified and tries to flee. She's attempting to escape when Sanchi lunges at her, saying, "Now I won't let you go." Valerie replies, "Then no one will survive." With that, she drags herself, and Sanchi with her, towards water and jumps in. As Valerie hits the water, Sanchi jumps in after her. But water is Sanchi's greatest weakness. It thrashes in the water. Valerie grabs its hand, trying to hold it down. She finally understands why her mother jumped into the water that day, to kill Sanchi. Her father had no hand in her mother's murder. Sanchi was the cause. Her mother's death wasn't a murder. Ruby finally frees himself and rushes out to find Valerie drowning. He quickly jumps in and pulls her out. In her hand, we see a small, black, childlike figure, a shrunken version of Sanchi. It means Sanchi has weakened. After a short while in the water, it dissolves and perishes. In the post-credit scene, we see Valerie with a baby. Her severed hand has been reattached, and she seems very happy with her child. As she's playing with her son, a small bug is shown on his face, leaving us with a lingering question. Is Sanchi truly gone? And with that, the movie ends.